People think specializing by vertical means choosing one industry to focus on. They think it's about narrowing your scope, about saying no to everything else. Wrong. That's what generalists do when they're desperate for differentiation. What specialists actually do is build a system that makes them irresistible to buyers who already know exactly what they want. The automotive dealer doesn't care about your leads or your clicks or even your qualified prospects. They care about units sold. The law firm isn't interested in more calls. They want better cases. The HVAC company doesn't want junk calls. They want booked jobs. The med spa wants booked consults, not browsers. And you know what? That's not just semantics. That's the scoreboard that matters. You're not building a funnel. You're building a conversion engine tuned to exactly what your buyer already measures success by. When you get that wrong, when you try to sell leads instead of units or engagement instead of booked jobs, you're not just missing the mark, you're making it impossible for your buyer to understand why they should trust you with their business. This is AI Lead Generation Agency Marketing, the show about building scalable lead systems that actually convert. I'm Mikey, and today we're talking about how specializing by vertical isn't just a marketing trick, it's the key to winning in any competitive market. If you're running a generalist agency or trying to build a system that works across every industry, you're already behind the eight ball. The real winners don't compete on price, they compete on outcomes. They package their offer by vertical so the promise is concrete and immediately credible. That's not just smart marketing, that's smart business. Here's how it works, step by step. First, you need to identify what your buyer actually measures success by in their own world. That's not leads, that's units, or cases, or jobs, or consults. Automotive dealers measure units sold. Law firms measure better cases. Home services businesses measure booked jobs. Medical and med spa clients measure booked consults. That's your conversion event, and you're going to build your entire system around it. Next, you need to understand that every vertical has its own operating system, but they all run on the same basic tech. What changes is how you use that technology. Hot leads for a personal injury firm look nothing like hot leads for an HVAC company. You have to build specific lead scoring models for each vertical because they're built from entirely different signals. A lead who downloads a white paper might be hot for one vertical, but a lead who shows up at a service appointment is hot for another. Then comes the creative angles. You don't just copy the same message across industries. You have to speak the language of each vertical. Automotive dealers care about the excitement of new models and the benefits of increased units sold. Legal firms focus on better cases and successful outcomes. That's your starting point, not a generic message that sounds good but means nothing. Then you need to build vertical-specific playbooks that let you onboard clients faster and defend premium pricing with proof from comparable accounts. You're not starting from zero every time. You're applying a proven pattern. These playbooks include templates for tracking what matters to each industry, case studies showing what worked before, and clearly defined steps for getting results. Finally, you need to understand that the vertical scoreboard isn't just about measurement, it's about alignment. When you use the right language, when you measure the right outcomes, when you structure your entire approach around what your buyer already uses to judge success, you're not just marketing to them, you're joining their conversation. The one number that matters is this. If you're building lead generation systems for multiple industries, you have to think in terms of vertical specific outcomes, not generic marketing language. That's it. That's the rule. When you start with units sold instead of leads or cases instead of calls, you're not just being clever, you're being strategic. But here's where people get it wrong. They think specialization means choosing one vertical and staying there forever. It doesn't. It means building systems that work across multiple verticals, but each system is built around the specific outcome that matters to that industry. That's the real secret. They also think they can copy what works in one vertical and expect it to work in another. No way. The lead scoring models, the creative angles, the conversion events, they're all different. You're not just copying a campaign, you're copying an entire approach. And don't get this wrong either. They try to build one generic system that works across everything. That's where you lose credibility immediately. Your buyer already knows what matters in their world. They can smell when you're speaking a different language, and they'll walk away. The biggest mistake is treating vertical specialization as just another marketing tactic instead of a fundamental shift in how you think about client relationships, lead scoring, and system building. When you get it right, you don't need to prove anything to your buyer. You just speak the same language they use, and everything else falls into place. So here's the whole thing in one loop. Specialize by vertical because buyers already measure success by specific outcomes. Build systems that speak each industry's language, not generic marketing jargon. Create vertical-specific lead scoring models, creative angles, and playbooks that work for each sector. When you do that, you're not just competing on price, you're competing on results. That's how specialists beat generalists. That's how you build systems that actually convert. If this one earned its time, the full system is inside the course at learn.mikey.ai. I'm Mikey. Go specialize by vertical.